This is a kind of lovely moment for those of you that have been paying close attention to the weaponization of the legal system. The number of times where ordinary people's faith in the judiciary and the institutions of media and government has faltered and ultimately failed because we know that they are not electorally responsible or morally reliable, but can be utilized to fulfill an agenda that's clearly designed and implemented by the powerful. So to watch this moment seems like, did these people know what irony means?
Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force. That is not how it works in America. That's how it works in dictatorships.
The adversary of Trump, Hillary Clinton, rose again at the Democratic Party National Convention, and one wonders what she may truly feel on seeing the chalice, poisoned though it may be, past Kamala. I'm talking about the participation of Hillary Clinton. Now, one of the things that I've always felt a slight moral reservation around was the kind of easy vilification and demonization of political figures, trying as I am to come from a place of love and patience and tolerance, not because I want a badge or some sort of merit mark, but because what are we if we're naught but vitriol and hate? Isn't the thing that's most difficult to accept and swallow about our current political climate is the lack of clear moral principles, the lack of an obvious direction, just the simple, continual deployment of vituperative rhetoric depending on what's convenient to say, i.e., watch Hillary Clinton now and watch what seems to me to be an insidious glee when the crowd starts to chant, "Lock him up." So we've already had a member of the Democratic Party National Convention say, we don't want the legal system to be kind of deployed and weaponized. And any of you that have been watching the various Trump trials, if you dislike Donald Trump, will recognize that many cases were amalgamated and brought together in order to create a kind of felony broth that wasn't previously there. As well, you may have noticed the odd use of her tongue during that speech. I didn't really have time to get into that. I didn't want to get distracted. It was kind of unusual. Now we'll see Hillary Clinton making another kind of moral about face by sort of reveling in the easy kind of jingoism and sort of casual bombast that's available when crowds gather, and seemingly relishes the lock him up chanting. Have a look. Be quiet, Bear.
Donald Trump fell asleep at his own trial. And when he woke up, he made his own kind of history. The first person to run for president with 34 felony convictions.
Where's your principles, Hillary? Same place you left your neck. Like when the RNC kind of seemed like a WrestleMania event with the obvious inclusion of, Hulk Hogan, it's not an easy reference to make, and the kind of easy and kind of, let's call it vulgar nationalism that defines the MAGA right. I don't mean that to condemn it. I come from a blue collar community myself and just recognizing that aesthetic. But when you see this apparently liberal, metropolitan, superior community all redolent with haughtiness every time you see them take to the stage or screen, and to see them still going like, boo, boo, down with that sort of thing, you feel like, well, what is this actually about other than sort of hollow hollering?
As vice president, Kamala sat in the Situation Room.
Seems like a kind of superficial set of differences, even if you were to accept their points of condemnation. What are the points of difference? Certainly, it's very difficult to identify policies. What we are going to do that is going to be different is this. This is how we will improve your life. Some of you will have already noted that the sort of, the kind of popular policy that Trump appeared to kind of come up with on the spot about letting servers keep their tips, that's been mimicked already. And do you know that the manifesto is still the manifesto that they're not legally obligated to follow, conveniently, because we know they wouldn't anyway, that was set up for the Biden candidacy when it was presumed that Biden would be the candidate. And note too that Biden has been kind of extracted like Boxer from Animal Farm, because normally when you say our situation is increasingly Orwellian, you are referring primarily to 1984. But those of you that were forced to read Animal Farm at school will know that there's a magnificent moment where Boxer, who's the representation of the proletariat and a kind of shire horse without whom the revolution would not have been possible, is ultimately melted down for glue. And Joe Biden's participation in this event is kind of heartbreaking. He's apparently a brilliant eulogy giver, and he's giving his own eulogy here. And the empty, vapid spectacle machine, this bizarre simulacrum, is giving him a send-off that, I'll tell you the reference I've got. When West Ham United left Upton Park, there was a big ceremony of like, this is sad that we're doing this. But the whole time I was thinking, we're only leaving this to go to a bigger stadium because of money. We should stay at Upton Park. And there were sort of sentimental displays, black taxis driving around the pitch, the spectre of Bobby Moore, a great deceased captain whose number, the number 6, was retired to honour him, turning off the floodlights. And all the while you're participating in this sentimentality. And remember, the great description for sentimentality is unearned emotion. All the time you're participating in the sentimentality, you realise, well, you don't have to shut down Upton Park. We could just stay here. We don't have to go anywhere else. We're doing this for money. And the same thing with the celebrations and sentimentality around Joe Biden. The only reason Joe Biden has been extracted is because he's unelectable. The media could no longer cooperate with the establishment in supporting that party. And Lord alone knows they are participating in the amplification of the idea that Kamala Harris is a great candidate, even in the absence of sincere, serious, or identifiable policy. There's one about grocery bills, there's one about tips. It all seems extraordinarily vague. We can't continue to bring you this beautiful content without the support of our partners.
Hey, this is exciting. We've got a great partner today. It's Rumble. But beyond Rumble is Rumble's latest venture. Let me ask you first, are you a Sleepy Joe type character with zero cognitive performance, struggling to muster focus and brain power for basic things like running the United States of America? You've got to stop drinking woke liberal coffee that hates you and your way of life and start your day by drinking Rumble's very own 1775 coffee. This is going to be the best tasting coffee you've ever had. Seriously good, ethically sourced from a family farm in the high altitude mountains of Bolivia. Not in the Bolivian lowlands run not by a family but by a single man still living with a pet. No! Instead of waking up and drinking your big corporation-owned woke ideology coffee that's probably making you sick from the pesticides it's sprayed with, try Rumble's 1775 revolutionary coffee. Support freedom of speech. Build a parallel economy that actually values you and loves you. My favourite? It's dark, of course. I've always found the lure of the dark irresistible. I'm sorry, how can I stay mad at you? But you're just going to have to wait over there for a little while. Level up your morning routine with a 1775 coffee. Sleep all night knowing your hard-earned dollary dues are going towards supporting freedom-loving creators like me on Rumble. Visit 1775coffee.com now. Pick up your first bag. Use the code BRAND to save 10% on your first order. Oh, come on. Why choose, Okay, back to the content.
Anyway, let's have a look at the fanfare and extraordinary exhibition of enthusiasm for Joe Biden, a man that has been deliberately, mendaciously, and just illegitimately actually removed. Was Clause 25, or whatever it was, Clause 25, Amendment 25, evoked? How was it? Your love is lifting me higher and higher, and your hierarchy has booted me off the ballot and hasn't even had the common decency to remove my name from the manifesto. I mean, I don't know if you would call it a manifesto anymore, because it's just a bunch of irrelevant ideas cobbled together that wouldn't be obeyed or adhered to anyway. Just let's take one simple example, a couple of examples, because there they are on the top of my head, accessible to me. Are you going to build that wall that you really condemned Donald Trump for proposing? Yeah, we are going to build that wall. Okay. Are you going to sell arms to Saudi Arabia, who you claimed while campaigning you'd make a pariah? Yeah, we are. So here's all this dancing and a jumping, singing and Stevie Wondering and moving. Keep on, Marvin Gaye. Whichever Motown artist you've dragged from the grave. It's extraordinary. The posters. That was, I feel like it was Colonel Tom Parker that came up with the idea. You look at like Elvis propaganda, the crowds have all got signs with the same handwriting, and look at the signs of this ludicrous spectacle. And then, of course, he starts, like Joe Biden gets to actually speak, and we're reminded of the reason that he had to be forcibly removed against his will from the presidency.
In its decision overturning Roe v. Wade, as you heard earlier tonight, the United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, "Women are not without electoral or political power."
They sort of cheer that, and I don't know if they're cheering because they've been told to cheer, or they're cheering of the general idea of pro-choice, or are they cheering possibly these famous sentences, as the old adage goes? Women are now without electoral will now, though not allowed because there's not without electoral or political power. It's I believe that it was James Baldwin or was it Frederick Douglass? Which great Democrat? No, he was a Republican, wasn't he, Frederick Douglass? God help us.
No kidding. MAGA Republicans found out the power of women in 2022. And Donald Trump is going to find out the power of women in 2024.
Oh, God love him. Let's see the rest. This is another moment from Hillary Clinton's participation.
I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to know I was here at this moment, that we were here, and that we were with Kamala Harris every step of the way. This is our time, America. This is when we stand up. This is when we break through. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go with it.
Aristotle in Poetics says that theatre requires numerous components, among them meaning and purpose and message, and one aspect of it was spectacle. And even in entertainment, spectacle has become overvalued. The craziness, say, of is it Michael Mann, the dude that makes Transformers, like a movie that feels like it's all special effects and explosions and no real meaning. Now, like, if entertainment has become too enthralled with spectacle and has lost connection with meaning and purpose, how much more sobering is it to note that politics is all but spectacle now? You can certainly advance the same argument about the RNC, and I certainly wouldn't oppose you. But look at what this is. These are the people that regard themselves as the supercilious guardians of the culture and of reason. She is the woman who augured the phrase basket of deplorables, but she's quite happy for a Democrat convention to chant lock him up. So it's not wrong to shout lock him up or lock her up. It's just we would like to nominate the person that shout about. And it's not wrong to just have no manifesto, no purpose, no morals, no meaning, no principles, no policy, no plan, no vision for America, no intention of bringing about peace, no intention of demanding ceasefires, no intention to bring about about peace between Russia and Ukraine or the people of Palestine and Israel. No intention to not escalate tensions. None of that. Let's forget all of that stuff. And let's instead focus on this. We want you to consider us to be slightly more feminist, or imagine that this is somehow part of a continuum that began with Martin Luther King or the great martyrs of the civil rights movement. And I pray that I intuit that those martyrs of the civil rights movement will be disgusted by what this party has come to represent. The betrayal of ordinary working people, the willingness to fill America with poor food and bad pharma, the willingness to perpetuate endless wars, the lack of vision, the lack of clarity, the lack of spirit, the lack of morals. Can anyone seriously claim that the great American civil rights leaders would go, good, we've left this movement in safe hands? It's pretty appalling, isn't it, to watch? Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.